not capable of a 360 view. In my view, you go into the healthcare system with what is wrong with you at that moment. And you're dealt with what is wrong with you at that moment. What we don't look at is what caused you to get to that moment and what it's going to look like after that moment. And I think through Ayurvedic, because it's a longer term process, because it needs you to actually weave yourself through of the cause, the actual response and the aftercare. We need to be able to put that onto a journey plan. And I think if the integrated health systems understood that as part of what we are trying to deliver through Ayurvedic knowledge, Ayurvedic medicines, and Ayurvedic skills, I think we would actually have a healthcare system that didn't constantly have pressure. Because a lot of the stuff that we actually endure is preventative. And it's preventative because lifestyle choices are often a large part of where we end up. And so I've got a very good friend in the House of Lords, and he says obesity is a huge, huge issue for us today, globally. Yeah. Because we are getting so addicted to things that actually satisfy us very quickly, but deliver very little nourishment. But the side effects of that are going to be incredibly long term, and then they change the physiology of us, so it becomes something that is incorporated into our genome pools. I'm not a medic, so I don't know, but I'll take face value the knowledge of somebody who's an incredibly brilliant mind. But he also says that we have such little understanding of healthcare. And I think that if we could bring what modern science, these good bits do, and bring the traditional sciences, which have been there way, way before we had antibiotics, which we now know are failing to work. So let's bring the knowledge together, because I'm glad that we today have a monarch who has constantly talked about alternative medicines. But we need to now put the foot on the pedal a bit. So my ask for all of you is this: we can't do this without real backing financially, because these things take money. I'm sorry, I know it's my script, but I'm going to take the privilege of having the microphone for a moment. Because I know how hard it is to get incredibly talented people into a room to discuss something that actually would be a generational shift in the way we look at medicine, in the way we look at treatment, but more importantly, in the way we look at attitude towards those treatments. So all of us have to have a wider conversation outside of this room. Let's not be an echo chamber. Let's not be a chamber that just talks to itself. We need to take the messages out, but we also need to get big business, by the way, who make huge profits on a lot of the illnesses that are manufactured artificially. So let's get them to be part of the conversation. Let's get them to be part of the way we are funded to be able to demonstrate empirical evidence over and over again, so there's nowhere for them to hide. But also, there's nowhere for us to hide, because we also have to demonstrate the value of what is behind it, Ayurveda. I do a lot of work in Africa, and I'll give you a small example of, I won't say which head of state because it would be unfair. Remember when COVID happened? The world went into mental meltdown. We all needed this vaccine. It came out quickly, but we were also very, how can I put it, discriminatory against where that vaccine went first. And Africans were last in the queue. And this head of state said to me, but you know what? We're not worried, because we've got all the plants that we need to keep on people safe. Because nature already gives you the medicines. And we as bush people know how to utilize them. So do you think during Lord Rama or Lord Krishna's time, some practitioner made antibiotics? They went out there and they found in the plants. I mean, you've heard of many of the stories, which I love, by the way. And I think let's just re-educate our fear, because we've created a fear of the unknown, and yet the unknown is really known. We just got to go into the history books and read them. And Abhijit, I'm sorry that I veered off my script that you kindly put up for me. But I want to now go back to the script for a couple of things. Yoga became international because one person decided that it was important that the world knew the importance of yoga. Today we celebrate Yoga Day. 21st of June? 21st of June, right? Prime Minister Modi. Why? Because he recognized that there was traditional things that went on in one of the oldest nations on the planet that was now being eradicated because big pharma companies were able to use their huge deep pockets to be able to veer us away from traditional to the new ready quick fix. And I'm just hoping, and as I mentioned it already, I'm just hoping with a monarch who believes in alternative medicines, with people around the world, and I was in an event last night where we were talking about ahimsa. People, young people particularly, want a different world. They want a world where they don't have things forced into their guts. They question everything, and that's good. They're not blindly led. Excellent. They respect the planet, and we have got to be able to be part of that journey. And that part of that journey is what you're going to discuss today. I'm afraid, as always with all politicians, I have a zillion things to do in a day because I'm a disruptor. I proudly say I'm a disruptor. I've been a disruptor all my life, but this thing needs disrupting. Medical healthcare in the West needs disruption, and it needs it for the betterment of the planet. Because if we can try and get an integrated, complementary alternative that people have a choice over, then let's offer it without fearing that we are going to be vilified, condemned, or made to look as if we are doing some hocus pocus mystic thing somewhere from the East. We need to work in partnership. I will work closely, as always, with Amajit and the team through the APPG. There are a load of new members of parliament. Please think of your parliamentarians that represent you and make sure that you take this to them. Because the all-party parliamentary group needs to have allies that actually will make sure that this mission of 10 years actually achieves results. So thank you so very much, and thank you all for listening to me.